Late night beer thoughts. How much do you still enjoy a band if they change style drastically, or just do things that are a bit more bland and seem to be going a bit more mainstream, as it were? Do you stick with them because it's a band you like? Do you still listen to their old stuff, or do you dismiss that because you don't like this band anymore? What are your thoughts? Now, I have loads and loads and loads of examples of bands that I've really liked previously and then they've just done something a bit different and I no longer like. And also plenty that have done something a bit different that I love a lot more than they were before. Polyphia being a good example. Their first couple of albums were very overly technical, overly crazy, let's just play things that people can't play, ha ha ha. And then they did Renaissance. And it was amazing. They'd taken all of that technicality and created some beautiful, wonderful melody with it and played just wonderful songs. And I love that album. And I was very excited for the next thing they released. And then I didn't like it. The Most Hated EP, they just kind of took everything that they'd done so well on the last album and just went, let's not do that, let's try something else. Which is fine. Loads of people love that. I didn't like it. I'm not going to listen to it because I don't like it that much. And their new stuff is slightly better, but meh, doesn't do much for me. So I will still say I like Polyphia, but I like their old stuff, not their new stuff. Closure in Moscow are another example. First Temple is one of my favourite albums of all time. Every single song on it is just amazing. I love it. And then they came out with Pink Lemonade. Very, very different style, very different production style, different style of writing, different sorts of songs. I didn't like it that much and it really put me off them. I still don't really like that album that much and I don't listen to it. But First Temple remains one of my favourite things of all time. Broadway are another example. Their first album, Kingdoms, was just awesome start to finish. It was just a post-hardcore sort of just brilliant fest. That's a thing, right? Brilliant fest. And then they changed to Gentleman's Brawl, which kind of got rid of all that sort of, I know, deeper, darker, post-hardcore sort of thing, and just went full on, just happy-go-lucky pop punk. But that was actually brilliant. And I love both those albums. From First to Last, another great example, you know, the old Skrillex before he started doing all wob wob wob, all that crap. You know, Dear Diary, I never really was a massive fan of that album. That was just pure, kind of a little bit cringy emo at its in its heyday, at its top form. And then they released Heroin after that, and that was just so much darker, so much deeper, so much more meaningful, and so much heavier. And that was an amazing album. So it went the other way around. I didn't really like them that much to start with. They released a second album and it's incredible. I mean, there are other factors that can change a band, you know, a change of vocalist, a change of guitarist or whatever. If someone who writes a lot of their music leaves or changes to someone else, whatever, then it can change quite a lot. A Lot Like Birds is a good example. No Place and previous stuff, the stuff with Kurt Travis, is, again, it's up there in my top albums of all time. No Place is just a masterpiece from start to finish. But Divisi, after Kurt left, meh. Just meh. Doesn't do much for me at all. And a vocalist leaving. Night Verses, their older stuff with their vocalist, I was never a big fan of, and then their vocalist left, so they went instrumental. And From the Gallery of Sleep, their latest album, is again another absolute masterpiece. Best thing they've ever done. It's just mind-blowingly good. Tides of Man, again, old school Tillian before he went to the Dance Gavin Dance. If you're not familiar with them, which I'm assuming most of you are, but if you're not, go listen to the first couple of Tides of Man albums. They are amazing. I loved them then. Tillian left, and they thought, you know what, we're gonna go instrumental. And then they went into this whole new realm of the most incredible post-rock ambient wonderfulness. And I still love them so much. They got even better without Tillian. And then there are bands that start off really kind of good and not necessarily unique, but just something stands them out above other people. And then they just kind of get gradually more tame and more bland and go a bit more mainstream, as it were. Again, Panic at the Disco are a good example. That first album was just so refreshing and so new and so brilliant. and then it never really went anywhere. It was just all downhill from there, really. Paramore, another example, first 2 to 3 albums mainly, were just great. I like them, just good, solid, female-fronted, sort of pop, rock, alternative, punky sort of albums. And then again, just diminished into sort of nothingness, really, for me. The Ongoing Concept, another album, first album, Saloon, boom, blew my brain out. And I just got boring after that. Periphery, another one, first album, excellent, second album, excellent, third album, nah, fourth album, nah. You know, The Reign of Kindo, very quite different, quite soft, jazzy sort of experimental type music. That was brilliant, that first album, and then they just went down the more accessible pop rock route. Arcane Roots, again, first couple of albums and the first EP, just boom, amazing stuff. And then just from then, I mean, they're splitting up now, I think, I've heard recently. And their stuff just kind of got a bit more boring as it went on. I have literally hundreds and hundreds of examples. I know I've been rambling quite a lot, and I've edited this down quite a lot. There's a lot not in this video. I can talk about this for hours, but I figured a few minutes will suffice. So yeah, let me know what you think. Does a band's change of sound or change of lineup or diminishing uniqueness really change how you feel about the band themselves, or are you just gonna not listen to the album you don't like and still call yourself a fan of the band? Because I'm still a fan of all of these bands that I've mentioned. If they do one song that I really like, I will call myself a fan. Let me know what you think.